So targeting is one of these foundational things that you really need to get right in order to actually see success with your marketing campaign, because you can have the single best ad created in the world ever, but if the wrong types of people are going to see the ad, you are never actually going to make money from it. So let's say that you want to work with businesses that are doing 1 million per year, and you have the best ad, and you know for sure that a lot of those businesses are going to opt in and become clients. You can show this ad to an individual who doesn't own a business and need your services, and you will still lose a lot of money. So targeting is extremely important. I've spent over $100,000 on meta ads for accountants, and in this video I'm going to explain exactly how to do the right targeting if you want to do meta ads for your accounting firm to get more higher revenue monthly paying clients. So before we dive into the video, I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Daan and I'm the owner of Accounting Kings, where we work with accountants to get them those higher revenue clients. Spent over $100,000 on meta ads for accountants, and I create this video simply because I want to give you some free tips. You can help out more business owners that are in need of your services. So the first thing that you need to do if you are going to do the meta ads is you need to pick a niche that you are going to target. The reason why you want to pick a niche is because it's way easier to actually get their attention. So for example, if you meta ads and Facebook and Instagram and social media in general are interruption based, right? You need to show the ads and you need to get the attention of the people that actually see the ads. And let's say that you just create ads for businesses in general, it's kind of hard to get their attention. Sure, you can just touch the general pain points that niche had. But if you have an ad for general businesses, an ad for construction businesses, if I am doing the targeting and the ad creation for construction businesses, I can use creatives like photos and videos talking and showing about things about construction. I can talk about construction business owners in the copy itself, in the text and everything. So it's way easier to actually get the attention of one single niche. So you need to pick the right niche to actually do this effectively. So if after you have come up with a couple of ideas, okay, well, these niches I think I'm pretty good at, I have experience with, or this specific niche I really like working with these types of people, you do of course need to make sure that those people are making money. So if you are going to create ads tailored to failing businesses, so if you are going to create ads tailored to failing businesses and for some reason you want to niche down with companies that are struggling financially because you want to help them actually survive, which of course is a good thing that you want to do this, but they're probably not able to pay you the money that you want to make, right? So you need to pick a niche because the targeting is easier, you can get their attention, but you also need to make sure that they make enough money. So another reason why you want to niche down is because the targeting on Meta is very much all AI based nowadays, meaning that if you run an ad without any like general targeting, like you don't tell Meta within the ad set of the campaign, I want to show the ads to these and these types of people, even if you have a very generalized targeting, they are still going to show the ads to the people that you are talking about within your campaign and your ads. Okay, so let's say that you create your campaign, you have set up your budget, you say, okay, I want to target the whole of the US, and you just run the ad talking about construction business owners who want to do effective job bidding and job costing. It is now actually able to show the ads to these types of people. So the reason you want to niche down is simply because the AI targeting of Meta actually also knows who you now want to target, and the more specific the better. So if you, for example, make an ad for construction businesses, let's stick with that niche, and you in the first couple of sentences you talk about construction business owners or construction businesses doing 1 million per year, Meta now knows who you want to show the ads to, and it is going to do a pretty good job with actually showing the ads to construction businesses doing around 1 million per year. Of course, it's not like 100% going to do all of this in the best way ever, but it is doing a very good job. So that's another reason why you actually want to niche down, so that you can tell Meta in a better way who you want to target. If you say I want to target businesses, that's great and it's going to do this, but it will be harder to get their attention. So you want to get best of the both worlds, the AI targeting and also getting their attention. So you want to niche down, call out who you want to target, so you get the attention and Meta also knows who to target. Okay, so now you have the niche, you have the call outs, and you can create the ads, the creative and the copy and everything. Now, in terms of the targeting, of course, you do not only want to use the AI. As I said earlier, it's not 100% working all the times. So you still want to do a little bit of targeting, but you want to keep it broader than most people think. Back in the days, like 4 or 5 years ago, when we were doing meta ads, you really needed to have a lot of targeting. You needed to target, for example, specific areas with a lot of interest and behavior targeting. The gender targeting and the age targeting matters a lot. And you needed to use a lot of targeting to actually tell Meta who you want to show the ads to. What we do right now with targeting, so we have the niche, we do look at the gender, the average gender percentage. So we do look at the percentage of the types of gender that own the company. So for example, we have a client that is working with plumbers, and a very high percentage, above 80%, are males that own the plumber businesses. So we have a rule that if the percentage is 80%, so either 80% male or 80% female, we do exclude the lower percentage because it's just easier to optimize. And we also can just use more males in the creatives so that actually more males are going to look at it, right? It resonates more with them. So that's number one. But another big thing you want to do is look at the age too. So typically we never really have ages below 25 years, because most of the people that own businesses, especially if you want to work with like businesses doing 1 million per year, they are never really younger than 25 years. Sometimes actually we typically start at 30 years. For example, with law firm owners, it takes quite a couple of years to actually study and become a lawyer and create your own firm. But if you want to work with tech companies, for example, software as a service companies, these types of company owners are typically a little younger. So you want to know the typical average gender, you want to know the age, where you are going to start, and then the targeting itself. Okay, so before, I said earlier, you wanted to use a lot of behavior targeting and interest targeting. What we do right now is we have 3 different ad sets, okay? And we have 3 different types of variations of the ad sets. Number 1 is the AI targeting I was talking about earlier. The only thing you want to do with this AI targeting is you want to, of course, pick a geographical location. Typically, I just pick the whole country. Then the age and gender filtering, and then you just tell the budget and you make sure you have to call out the niche and everything, and it will do in general, pretty good job. Then the second type is a lookalike audience. A lookalike audience is essentially a very big list that you can upload, and then you can tell Meta, show the ads to people that are very similar like the people in the list. So, for example, we have a client which is working with marketing agencies, and we uploaded a very big list of about 10,000 marketing agency owners, like their emails, the phone numbers, the websites and everything, a lot of information. And then we know, of course, you do need to really make sure that those are qualified leads, but we know, okay, well, these are the actual owners of these businesses, and then Meta is going to do a very good job at actually using this information. Back in the days, lookalike audiences were like the go-to targeting. Typically, you can just start a campaign, you upload the lookalike audience, and that's kind of like the best you can do. Right now, that's not the case anymore. It still works, and you still can get very good results with it, but it's not the only option that you have if you want to see the optimal results. The AI targeting, you can also get the optimal results with this. And then the last kind of variation of targeting is the interest and or behavior targeting. So With interest and or behavior targeting is we are still going to use the same gender, and we're still going to use the same geographical location and age filtering. But what we are also going to do is we are going to do two different types of targeting. So number one, what we always do if we use this strategy is the small business owner's behavior. So small business owner's behavior is simply a targeting where Meta knows based on the behavior of this person, they own a business. So they own a business page. They typically buy business class flight tickets, or they talk a lot about business within their Facebook Messenger or Instagram DM. And this is tracked, by the way, most of the times. If, for example, if you have a conversation about McDonald's and then all of a sudden 5 minutes later you will get an ad of McDonald's. So, and then another thing is, so you want to use this behavior targeting of businesses combined with an industry specific either behavior or interest. So for example, a client of ours works with dentists. We have the lookalike audience, we have the normal AI targeting, and then we have a different ad set with different targeting where we use the business owner behavior. So we know, okay, Meta knows that we want to show the ads to people that own a business, combined with a dental specific interest, okay? And you want to keep these interests broad. You don't want to go too narrow. Like if there's an interest with only 10,000 people in it, that's too small, right? You want to make sure it's broad. So for example, there are interests maybe around dental school in one specific city. It's not a big enough audience to actually scale these types of campaigns. But if you want to use like an interest in dentistry in general, that's good enough, because then Meta knows, okay, well, they need to own a business and they need to be interested in dentistry or the dental industry. They kind of know, okay, well, he's probably after these types of people. So those are the three different ways of targeting. If you don't have a lookalike audience list, then just use the AI targeting and then two ad sets that are the behavior for business owners combined with a niche specific thing. And then they're going to do the rest of the optimization. So it's not the case anymore where it's only going to show the ads to these types of people. You can still tell them to do this, but which I don't recommend. Because they are going to use it more of as a guideline, as a suggestion. Okay, so you create the ads, you say, well, show the ads to these types of people, but it's still going to filter and kind of break out of the suggestion just to get data to see what works and what doesn't. And they're also going to use click data and conversion data. So this brings me to a different point about getting the conversions and optimizing for the conversions. So a lot of people that create targeting types of videos, they talk a lot about like the back end of telling Meta who you want to target. They're never really talking about the targeting that is actually happening on the front end after you generate the leads. And you may think, well, what do you mean? Because if you generate a lead, this means you have done the targeting already. But that's not the case, because Meta is always going to optimize the campaign with every single thing it does. And it is also going to optimize the campaign with the targeting itself. So let's say that you create an ad tailored to construction companies, and the first 30 leads are individuals who are looking for a construction job that don't own a business, that don't have money, and they don't need those fractional CFO services, for example. The targeting is now going to optimize for people looking for a job within construction. So of course, this is the last thing you want to do. So you want to make sure that within every single aspect of the campaign, from the creative to the copy, but also to the landing page and the tracking, that is all tailored to the specific niche. So for example, construction business owners doing $1 million per year, but you also only want to track and optimize for leads that were actually qualified. So nobody really talks about this, but if you use lead forms, for example, and a lead form is where you can just click to open a form, it's going to automatically fill your information, you click another button, and there you became a lead. if you use this strategy, and it can work, but if you use it in a way where everybody is going to submit the forms, now the AI is going to optimize for these people. And this is the reason why I personally like landing pages more, because it adds some friction and the lead quality goes up. And then it's only going to really track and optimize and target the people with higher intent. And if you want to take this to the next level, so for example, you use a calendar page. We directly send all the traffic to a landing page with a calendar on it. Sometimes this works and you directly from the start get a lot of high quality leads, but sometimes that's also not the case and you still generate a lot of low quality leads, and it's going to optimize for these types of leads in terms of targeting. So what you then want to do is you want to use a form. You want to send the form to a preparation page where it's essentially like a little survey where you just say, hey, you requested your free consultation, if that's your offer. Please answer a couple questions so we can prepare for your call and help you in the best way possible. And then one of these questions will be, do you own a business doing more than $500,000 per year? And then if the answer is no, you send them to the disqualifying page. And if the answer is yes, you send them to a schedule page. And then you put the tracking on the schedule page so that it's only going to track the people that actually landed on the schedule page, meaning they told you that they own a business doing more than $500,000 per year, right? So then, of course, you tell Meta to optimize for leads, and it's only going to track leads if they land on this calendar page and if they told you that they own a business doing more than $500,000 per year, and then it's going to actually optimize the targeting to find these types of people. So in the long term, this is going to have a huge positive impact on your campaign, right? Because you can tell Meta to optimize for construction companies or dental practice owners, but if it's seeing that all of the leads are people that are looking for a job in the industry and that do not own a business, and you tell them, of course, I want to get as many leads as possible, then it's going to optimize for these types of people. So that's why I thought it's important to actually include this in the whole targeting video, because it is part of targeting in the longer term. Also, another thing about the more of a front-end targeting is talking about pain points and solving a specific solution. So you want to, for example, create ads tailored to an industry but also solving a specific problem. You cannot just say, I will take over your accounting, your bookkeeping, and give you financial advice, right? Although that there are some pain points that you can solve and can talk about by delivering these services in one package, it's better to just talk about tax savings or just talking about improving profit margins by working with an industry specific accountant. Reason being is because, first of all, from an ad perspective, you can talk more about the pain points and the benefits of working with you, but the second part is, and this is kind of very impressive, I think personally, Meta is sometimes going to show the ads to people that it knows have these types of problems. So for example, I have a client working with chiropractors, and I had this conversation with the client, okay, but do you only want to work with chiropractors, or is this more of an industry that you are interested in, but you also want to work with other types of people? Okay, well, also other types of people, perfect. Then what we have seen, we were talking a lot about saving money on the tax bill. He likes to do tax planning, and he also knows typically if I do the tax planning, I also take over the monthly services. And we were generating a lot of leads that needed those specific tax planning strategies. Well, the whole campaign and everything was built around chiropractors. The landing page was built around chiropractors, but still they were actually filling in the forms, scheduling meetings. And there's one big rule that we always have: if something is working and profiting and making us money, we are not going to make a change and touch it, right? So the whole campaign was built around chiropractors, about tax saving and still being compliant with the IRS, and it was still working. So in terms of targeting, if you have specific pain points and things you actually solve, the AI is also going to take this into account on who is going to show the ads to. So all of this may sound a little bit complex, but I promise you, once you have done this a couple of times, it's really easy. I told in the start of the video that it's one of those foundational things that if you mess this up, it's going to mess up your whole campaign. But now with the coming of AI and the way that Meta is implementing AI with the targeting, you are only going to make mistakes if you do not niche down, if you do not have a specific type of problem you solve, and if you are too broad with who you want to work with in terms of the call outs, the creatives, and the landing page. So you want to give Meta the permission to figure it out on its own, because it is doing a really good job, but you do still need to actually tell them who you want to target. It's the same thing as if you are using ChatGPT, for example, and you tell, create me a funny image, and that's it, then it's not going to create a funny image. But if you give them a lot of information about, okay, well, this is funny, this is not, create an image in this way, you will come pretty close with the funny image you want to create. Same thing with Meta, it's kind of like a prompt that you are giving it with suggestions, and you need to make sure that you give it the right amount of information so that it can actually do its thing. So if we look back at a couple of years ago, we did find already that the targeting is way easier right now, and creatives, so the videos and the photos that you put in your ads, are way more important right now. So this is the very next video I'm going to upload. So you now have the targeting done, you now have set it up the right way, you have the 3 ad sets, 1 AI targeting, maybe a lookalike audience, or 2 ad sets with those interest or behavior targeting. And now you need to use the right creative, and the creatives are becoming way more important. So that's everything for the targeting. If you learned something, make sure that you actually like the videos, that you will get more videos like this. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any other videos like the video I'm going to upload next week. Make sure that if you have any specific questions, just leave them in the comments. And if you are an accountant, you want to get more of those higher revenue clients, but you don't really have the time to do all of the marketing yourself, you don't really like to do this, or you just don't have the expertise, then click on the link in the description where you can schedule a call, and we will explain to you exactly how we do this in a way where we are not going to profit until you do. So that's it for this video, and I will see you next week. Cheers.